The devil that you know rather than the devil you don't know. Society is made up of people, and people seek things that are familiar to them. And with this familiarity comes the sense of safety. And because of this, this pattern repeats. Society is not much different. Since birth, all society and groups know are that perceived leaders are untrustworthy. All they've known is no freedom. In fact, all they've known is tyranny. And this is what society and groups are attracted to. If society and groups cannot find these things, they become bored, creating hardships. For example, with social decay, creating hard times, and, for example, electing their perceived leaders who simply repeat everything. Society and groups are attracted to these things. Society and groups will also become tyranny and untrustworthy. So they have the sense of control, artificial. Take, for example, with social justice movements and following influencers and fake heroes. Groups in society are attracted to these things. Society and groups will seek out perceived elected officials and parties they are attracted to, with the hopes of changing them and the situation that they're in with so-called remedies of accountability. Society and groups are attracted to this. There is a meme of a school of small fish taking the form of a great big shark chasing away a threat. However, if each individual fish, for example, is attracted to being fearful, that would impact the collective that's acting as a great big shark. Setting aside, for example, the fractured nature of society and the people within and the divisions, this all compounds to why things will not change. And society and groups are attracted to these things. And these are examples of a time before a new equilibrium is established, the change. And this is what people fear. This is why nothing will ever change. You cannot stop what cannot be stopped. If people cannot fix themselves, better themselves, then how do they expect to better society, which is made up of individual people? Hello, it's June 2025, and this video is somewhat inspired by recent events at the time of the recording of this video. And that has to do with two more individuals convicted of crimes regarding the protest of rubber. Now I'm just going to pause here for a moment. If it appears that I come down as a very loose descriptive callous towards these people, it's because I am. And this is not only reflecting on the people of the protest of rubber, but I've been dealing with harsh negativity and attacks before them. For example, with another group, Millions March for Freedom, or whatever they were called at the time. That was a huge group. And because I don't tell people what they want to hear, I get attacked for it. And even when, for example, as another loose descriptive, my predictions, telling people how things are going to turn out, come true, I still get attacked. And that's why I've been highlighting this, one reason why I've been highlighting this, protester rubber, so-called fake heroes. And I've highlighted, for example, how none of them display what someone, for example, wrongfully convicted will demonstrate. None of the hardships. These people cry upon arrest, they cry in the interrogation room, they cry on the stand, perhaps crocodile tears, and they play victim. And even what really I want to focus on, and what I have been focusing on, is not so much these fake heroes, but the people who support them. Take, for example, read a lot of comments how people think it's a disgrace that their trial lasted a year. And now they have to wait till later on this year for sentencing. People are saying things like they can't believe what Canada has become. Well, what they perceive, what they think is injustice really isn't injustice. But real injustice and tyranny and the taking away of freedoms have been going on for decades and decades and decades. But no one seems to care about the countless of people who are innocent and convicted. We may hear in the news of, oh, this person has been vindicated after 10, 30, 40 years, whatever. But that's not even a drop in the bucket. That's maybe a drop in the ocean of injustice and tyranny. And I've highlighted, for example, some elements to what real injustice looks like. And again, none of these people who've been convicted regarding the convoy has experienced any of these things. Let's put this into perspective so you understand where I'm coming from. So their trial lasted a year and they get convicted. From the time when the events took place for me on May 4th, 2013 to being wrongfully convicted of allegedly assaulting a police officer in obstruction, I was convicted on July 2016. All the proceedings for the criminal matter ended in late 2019. 6 years I had to deal with the courts as an innocent person. Now, people will say, well, these so-called heroes, they were trying to help people. Maybe they had those intentions, perhaps, I don't know. But they went too far. They were arrested and charged, not wrongfully. Compare that to my story, where not only was I innocent of all allegations, including the backstory regarding a female who became central to my story, but I was whistleblowing and exposing first-hand knowledge of the sexual abuse, trafficking of vulnerable women at a non-profit mental health organization where I worked after leaving law. And for that, opening my mouth, trying to help, cost me everything. Now, I've done a lot of other videos talking about sex trafficking, for example, being bigger than you think, and the sacrifices that I made 25 years ago plus, and all my efforts since the thing is, when you look at these people who committed offenses, contrast it with real innocent people who, for example, are arrested and charged based on false allegations, whether it be by police officers, former police officers, or an individual. That is how injustice starts. And then you have a whole list of things which I've shown as examples that the people, the so-called heroes, fake heroes of the convoy, never experienced. The issue here really is not so much the elements that make up, for example, injustice, tyranny, but people feel sorry for these others being convicted now, and that is an emotion-based response. They merely feel sorry for them because these people messed up. These people that I've highlighted do meet the elements of someone guilty being convicted. And I've done a specific video on this some time back. Now these people ruin their lives again for nothing, because the convoy and whatever efforts they may have thought they were doing was for nothing. I told people, and I still tell people, everything that's being imposed is a war of attrition, and all you have to do is survive without compromising self. Too much Hollywood movies, and I've said this repeatedly, have romanticized what people should be doing, what they think they should be doing, freedom fighters and everything else, and even making stickers and t-shirts and hats, calling themselves freedom fighters. A real freedom fighter doesn't need to advertise who they are. It's just a fake badge and virtue signaling and letting others know of like mind, hey, I'm with this group. But most people that I've seen sit behind a keyboard in the comfort of their own home, posting and reposting nonsense. And I've seen over time, 10, 15 years, how these, what I call online celebrities, also known as influencers, come out of nowhere and rise to internet fame, where people are sharing their videos, where these people simply do commentary on things that they've read online. They've offered no first-hand experience, nor do they really offer any independent evidence to support anything. Perhaps at best things that they will pull offline, but no first-hand knowledge of anything. And it's really interesting and frustrating at times how when people like myself are actually trying to fight for justice, truth, fight against the tyranny of injustice and suppression of truth, are going unnoticed, and that perhaps at times these so-called truther and freedom types just ignore them. And in my case, not only do they not care, but they get very angry and are very brutal with their words. And this is where I'm coming from when I highlight these people. And I kind of, in a way, do feel sorry for these fake heroes, because they got psyoped deeper, for example, as a descriptive, than most anyone else. They went the extra mile and caused themselves a lot of hardship and grief, which could have been avoided. That's another key. For example, speaking for myself, I did everything that I could to avoid any hardships, for example, legally. These people did everything that they could to do the opposite. But the real issue is not them. It's the commoner, everyone in society, and just going with their emotions. And this is what's destroying civilization, this society, and dare I say, even, for example, the Western culture. Well, that's a different topic. So I just want to kind of recap that. I've mentioned these different points in different videos and everything else. And if you're someone who gets triggered easily by one thing that I say that you don't like, and you dismiss me, then you're not somebody that I want in my camp anyway. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Things to think about. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.
It wants what is familiar. So let's dissect what emotional gravity means and what that truly is. Humans are very predictable, but it's not because humans are stupid. It's because our nervous systems are very, very smart. Your brain doesn't want new things. It wants old things that it already knows how to survive. They're not chasing what feels good, like you might think because of needs, decisions, and values. They're chasing what feels like home. Even if home was hell, they're still chasing home. So write this one down. This is how the system works. If it feels familiar, it feels safe. If it feels safe, then it becomes attractive. If it's attractive, then it becomes repeated. Familiar, safe, attractive, repeated. That's it. So you're not choosing, you're recycling. People are not choosing, they're recycling. And not all of these emotional magnets or emotional gravity traps look the same. And the first one is called the mirror magnet. This pulls you into and toward people and environments that treat you the way that you were treated growing up. Type 2 is the echo magnet. This one makes you just recreate pain to give you the placebo that you're in control. And then we have something called the reversal magnet. And this one kind of flip-flops the roles. This one flips it over. So you become the thing that hurt you. If you felt powerless, you become the dominant one. And then we have type 4, the completion magnet. And this one's kind of sneaky because you keep finding people in your life who resemble the people who hurt you. Why would we do that? Because we hope to God, we pray, this time I'm finally going to get the love that I didn't get back then. I need to find that person so I can learn how to control that type.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me, oh, when is it going to get easier? When we die.